Codex, Celestial Sons, A Lost Legion Fan Lore. Chapter 1, The Ascending Sun. The history behind the Primarch of the 11th Legion of Adeptus Astartes has been lost to the Imperium of Man after the Emperor enacted the Edict of Obliteration. It was declared that all likelihood, symbols, and records of this legion be erased to the point where it would seem like they never existed. The following is a collection of reports from various sources throughout the galaxy, spanning untold centuries. Most, if not all of these sources, have disappeared soon after they have gone public. The 11th Legion's Primarch, just like his brothers, was stolen from the Emperor and flung across the galaxy, all thanks to the ruinous powers of chaos. As his gestation pod soared through space, a tiny chunk of debris cracked his pod. This was all thanks to the Lord of Change, for the corruption of chaos now began to taint the young Primarch. However, it was very minutely, but Tzeentch's plans had already been set into motion. The Primarch's pod landed upon the technologically advanced planet known as Kiosha-Vor. The Primarch was quickly found and taken to the leaders of this world, the Council of Three. These three wise men saw this as a sign of the prophecy of the stars, a prophecy that spoke of the coming of a new king who would bring rise to a new evolutionary line to the people of Kiosha-Vor. The Council of Three raised him as one of their own. He was educated and trained extensively. There was no task that the young Primarch would not accomplish, and he soon became a master scholar and a very adept warrior. At the time of his maturity, he finally gave himself a name. The young Primarch chose a name that was the very same name as that of the ancient king of Kiosha-Vor, the man who would unite the world under his own rule, Alec Elrik. Elrik then began to travel across the planet alongside the Council of Three. Together, they made their way across the 5 great continents, constructing massive pylons of star energy, or so he was told. During this time, Elrik began getting visions of death and destruction, as well as demonic images. These nightmarish visions were actually Tzeentch's way of torturing the young Primarch, assaulting his mental fortitude bit by bit, slowly cracking away at Elric's sanity. The visions were strong, yet few and far between, and so Elrik tended to ignore them. During the construction of the final pylon, Elrik came across a glimmering shard that, strangely enough, could cut straight through the planet's toughest metals. Taking advantage of this strange crystal's capabilities, Elrik fashioned himself a powerful spear, and he used the shard as the tip of this weapon. Once again, Tzeentch was to blame for this little twist of fate, as this was actually a Catan shard. Many moons pass, and now it is the day before Elrik would be crowned king. Using his vast intellect, he creates a suit of armor fit for a king, yet still battle-worthy. The Council of Three are now about to officially crown Elrik as the king. However, the planet shakes and goes completely dark. The world trembles as flashes of emerald light emanate from the pylons. A massive surge of energy pulses from the pylons deep into Kiosha-Vor's crust, and moments later, the ground tears itself apart. From within these deep fissures, an army of skeletal warriors begins to crawl out. Alec Elrik looks to his mentors, the Council of Three, for answers. However, what he sees shakes him to his core. Elrik is frozen at the sight of these 3 men morphing into one another, as their flesh twists and turns into a mixture of scales and feathers. The newly formed avian demon rips a portal into space, But just as the demon is about to enter this tear in reality, Elric's spear pierces straight through the demon's shoulder. "My boy, you dare strike your beloved mentors?" The demon speaks out, and as it opens its beaked mouth, within its maw, the Council of Three's faces speak out as they morph between one another. "You did this! This is all your fault!" Elrik shouts out. "No, this was not of my doing. We are all but pawns in his game." And with that, a slew of multicolored demons spew out from the portal, knocking down Elrik towards the newly awoken Necrons below. As thousands upon thousands of Necron warriors wreak havoc across the world, warp tears have also been summoning out Tzeentchian demons, thus creating a worldwide extinction event for the people of Kiosha-Vor. Alec Elrik fights his way back towards the demonic Council of Three, as passages from the prophecy of the stars run through his mind. In a shower of color and flame, new life will rise again. How could I not see this coming? Elrik asks himself. I've spent my entire life with the Council of Three. All I've known has been built upon lies and manipulation. And those that are paying for it are the people of Kiosha-Vor. Covered in the immaterial juices of demons and the ichor-like lifeblood of the Necrons, Elrik reaches the podium where the avian demon now stands. The two warriors lock eyes, and a great battle begins. Pushing his body to its limits, the unarmed Primarch takes the upper hand, as each blow struck slows down the demon, yet he is unable to retrieve the spear that is still embedded within the shoulder of the beast. As the battle rages on, searing bolts of green strike at Elrik, vaporizing portions of his armor. The Necrons had made their way past Tzeentch's minions, and had now began firing at the greater demon and the Primarch. This momentary pause in the demon's attack gave Elrik the opening that he needed, and with all his might he ripped out the spear. With that same motion, he plunged the spear once again straight through the demon's face, slicing straight down, leaving the demon clean in two. As the creature of the warp slowly dematerialized, with a grim cackle, multicolored flame engulfed Elrik. Through the pain of the warp fire, Elrik heard the demon's final words. A shower of color and flame. Your new life begins anew. With the warp flame still enveloping him, Elrik continues to fight on, slaying countless Necrons. Each skeletal warrior slain would be one less threat to his people, he thought to himself. As he attacked the Necrons, the people of Kiosha-Vor saw him, and instantly they knew that he was indeed the child of prophecy, the Comet Warrior. For his speed and warp flame made it seem like a falling star darting across the battlefield, leaving death and destruction in its wake. To Elrik's surprise, the warp flame would not extinguish. The pain was definitely there, but there was no visible damage being done to him. For what seemed like an eternity to Elrik, he continued to fight on. His body battered, bruised, torn, but his psyche was even worse off. He thought to himself that perhaps he was the one truly responsible for this atrocity. And all at once it hit him, the severity of it all, the betrayal of his mentors, the destruction of his world, and once again the visions came back to haunt him. Who am I? Who can I trust? What can I do? Elrik collapsed down to one knee, and as he tried to lift himself with his spear, a mob of Necrons approached, ready to end the Primarch's life. His armor broken, his body now at its limit, and with no hope left, Alec Elrik accepted death. Just then, a golden light descended from the heavens. The Emperor was here for his son. The Emperor of Mankind teleported between Elrik and the Necrons, and with a single swing of his flaming sword, the Necrons were no more. As the Emperor turned to aid his son, the warp flames also extinguished, and the two teleported back to the Emperor's flagship. With no hope left for Kiosha-Vor, the Imperial fleet enacted Exterminatus. Elrik and the Emperor spoke alone for quite some time, and because of this, to repay the Emperor for saving his life, Alec Elrik would devote all his efforts towards bringing the Emperor's dream into reality, the unification of humanity. When the conversation was over, Elrik emerged as the Primarch of the 11th Legion of Adeptus Astartes, the Celestial Sun.